you, everyone. Good evening. My name is Xavier Santiago. Welcome to the meeting of CB11's Executive Committee. I'm the chair of the Executive Committee of the Board, and welcome you. It is now 6:39 p.m. We're convening this meeting. Tonight we're joined by our District Manager, Angel Mustang, and they sit to help today's our committee. In order to conduct an efficient meeting, let's observe a few ground rules. These are the same rules you've heard the entire pandemic. 1, no one may speak until granted the floor. 2, CB11 members, if you have a question about board business, which to make a motion, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized. To raise your hand through Zoom, and this is the participants as well, but the participants icon, and you will find the raise hand function there. If you have technical difficulty, click the chat icon and relay your difficulties to the staff. Thank you. 3, members should not engage in back and forth discussion. The chair will recognize the next person to speak. 4, the chat function should not be used for CB11 for business or questions about agenda topics. All such remarks should be made on the record when recognized. Chat should only be used to alert us to any technical difficulties you are having or state in writing information like an email address that was already stated aloud on the record during the meeting. 5, when a member is given the floor to speak, I will identify you and you can unmute yourself so that you may speak. 6, please keep your questions and comments succinct and germane to the discussion. 7, members of the public, if you have a question or comment about subjects on the agenda, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized. We will now take attendance by roll call. Committee members say here or I when you are called.
Jose Altamirano.
Here.
Stephanie Arroyo is excused. Madame Maria. Here. Jessica Elliott. David Giordano. John Green. Here. Marissa Mack.
Here.
Nilsa Orama.
Here.
David Santiago.
Here.
Isaac Scott.
Here.
Jason Villanueva. Michelle Walter Clement.
Excuse me.
We have one.
All right. Thank you. The agenda for tonight's meeting is distributed ahead of time by the board office and posted online. There are a couple additional items that were not on the agenda that will be handled under new business. Those pertaining to a street fair and a letter of support. And one additional license permits request. If there is no objection with those additions, we will adopt the agenda as stated. Many members, if you wish to object to adopting the agenda, please raise your hand. Seeing no hands, the agenda is adopted for tonight's meeting. The minutes from our last meeting were distributed to committee members ahead of time by the board office. If there are no objections, we will adopt the minutes in that meeting. Committee members, if you object to adopting the minutes, you may raise your hand to be recognized. Seeing no objections, the minutes in the last meeting are adopted. The minutes tonight will be taken by Jessica Elliott and then reviewed and edited as needed by myself. Before we go into our announcements, I just want to say thank you everyone for hustling to get here last minute. We were given official notice on Tuesday by the Mayor's Community Affairs Unit that they were no longer extending the emergency order as it pertains to open meetings. I want to say thank you to everyone here at the table and those unfortunately were sick or in transit for being here, including those that are logging in. This is our first attempt. We have formed so we can act in business. Unfortunately, due to the late notice, we were not able to secure a space and all the particulars, including form, et cetera, and so on. We thank everyone who tried to make this happen. We will ratify all of these positions during our September meeting. So I appreciate everyone for being here and making this happen. And I look forward to going through all of these action items as expeditiously as possible just to get them enacted upon. So it will not be your traditional executive committee. We will handle those matters, chair's reports and preparations and our subsequent meeting in September. So we will just be handling action items. So thank you, chairs, for being succinct in your delivery of the action items. Any announcements, please raise your hands. Seeing none at the table. Any from our board members who are attending meetings, who are having hands, I'm seeing. Yes, Jose.
My birthday is August 9th. So you should know.
Thank you. Happy early birthday. Any announcements? I will entertain a few from the members of the public of any announcements, like community events or meetings. There's one hand raised. Can't read that.
Deacon Swan Street.
Deacon, you're recognized. Do you have an announcement?
Okay, no, thank you. I just wanted to make sure I was recognized, that I was here.
Thank you. Welcome to our executive committee meeting.
Thank you very much. Thank
Please
you.
reminding all members of in the hybrid environment, the virtual environment, put yourself back on mute and lower your hand. It makes it for a more efficient meeting. Great. Moving on, committee action items. We're now going to go to environment, open space and parks. Jessica Elliott.
Great. We have a letter of support for the co-naming of the Thomas Jefferson Park basketball courts in honor of Will Kelly Senior. We do not have a process for this necessarily in environment, open space and parks, similar to how we do things in licenses and permits, but we asked for let's see, we asked for the letters of support and biography and signatures to support this request, and those were received, and our committee voted to support this co-naming and look forward to doing many more in the future.
Any questions from our committee? Seeing no hands, I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to support the committee recommendation. A
Second. Okay, by Jose. Please call the roll.
Jose Morano,
See,
Stephanie Arroyo. Dan Brija,
yes.
Jessica Elliott.
Yes.
David Giordano, John Green.
Aye.
Marissa Mack.
Yeah.
Gonzalo Rama.
Yes.
Xavier Santiago.
Yes.
Isaac Scott.
Yes.
Jason Villanueva. Is absent. Mr. Jones is motion passes.
Okay, thank you very much. We're now going to go to licensing permits. The way this is going to be conducted is down on the hand it to you. Just read the first line. When you get to number at the bottom of this page, we'll go to the next slide. We are gonna do what we typically do at full board, which is to bundle all the except for the one that was raised to us earlier today, which is item number 10. So we pull that one out.
So I'll just skip over that one, okay.
Or you can read it into
Read
the
it.
record, but then I will then call out those action items we're gonna take a position on, and then we'll circle back to 10, so everyone's clear.
Okay, all right, so, first liquor license and number 2 on our, agenda was, to approve the application of East Harlem Bottling Corp. They were doing a class change. Number 3 was to deny the application of Aquilina LLC for a new full liquor license. Number 4 was to approve the application of, Katrina Mexicana Inc. for a new wine, beer and cider license. Number 5 is to deny the application of the Five Amigos Inc. doing business as Amor Cubano to renew a full liquor license. Number 6 was to deny the application of Refinera Tropical and Grill Corp. For a corporate change for a wine, beer and cider license. And number 7 was to deny the application of La Castaneda Deli Inc. for a new beer and cider license. Next slide. Number 8 was to deny the application of 1567 Lex Cafe to renew a wine, beer and cider license. Number 9 was to approve the application of Best Lexington Avenue Pizza Corp. Doing businesses Quattro Nostra. 10 was to approve the application of Earl's Beer and Cheese LLC to renew a wine, beer and cider license. Number 11 was to approve the application of Las Panteras Negras, doing business by the same name, was to renew a full liquor license. Number 12 is Manuel Mercado. That these 12, 13, and 14, we didn't take a position because they didn't submit the documents in time for the second meeting we had this morning. As far as, if you want me to elaborate a little bit.
Yes, please.
I just looked now, I wasn't even aware of this. From what I can tell, I think 13 has all their documents. Angel, if you could double check, just to correct me, I don't think 12 and 14 have all their documents that we require. It was my position, I felt that the committee followed, that because we held a second meeting, so we basically had 2 long meetings this month. It gave everyone 21 extra days to submit paperwork, and these are all renewal applications. So, they know the procedure, so it's up to you, and I deferred it out, but I don't know if 2 of these 3 even have everything.
Then if you could repeat the number.
So 12, Manuel Mercado doing business. On my phone, I'm only seeing the 30-day notice. I don't know if they submitted the other things. Number 13, which is Salat Diner Corp. It looks like they submitted everything, but I haven't really been able to thoroughly review that. And number 14 is APQ doing businesses La Pan, Cotidian. I think they're missing the stipulation. It looked like they might have submitted the other things, but. Sometimes on the phone, I just want to make sure that I'm not saying they didn't and they did, you know.
I'm trying to get to that.
Yeah.
Page right now, might need you guys to come back. with that.
Yeah, so what
Okay.
we do,
Do the other one.
yeah, why don't you carry on?
Do you want me to go to street activities now?
Yeah, so one
Okay.
quick question on 7 before we go to street activities. Are they here to present their executive committee? Believe would you be able to check? Because I will have to carve that one out.
They would need to identify themselves.
Yeah,
The applicant for, like us to meet that alley.
anyone who was present that day was made aware to reach out to the board and. come.
Dirty.
So, Khalid, are they identified themselves?
So far, it's not seeming such. Jules Feynman.
No, he's not here for
That is
that.
for number 10.
See. Who's raising their hands? I see an Ellen Lee or Jules Feynman. I don't know.
It could be, possibly Ellen Lee was the representative who came the night of the meeting. That brings us up.
Ellen, you have the ability to speak. Can you confirm?
Yes, hi.
Hi, Alan. This is Xavier Santiago, Chair. Would you please identify which organization you're representing, please?
La Costanita Deli, number 7.
Okay, great. All right, great. I will come back to you. I'm gonna let, we will have a discussion on 7 and 10, and once we get confirmation of 12, 13, and 14, we will come back to those. I just stand by for that. I'm going to allow Debria, our Chair of License and Permits, to carry on the street activities and permits, okay?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Also, this.
Carry on.
Yeah, I'll just wait until we get to the, okay, I think one there.
Daniela for also item number 13 says that they did submit 7.
Yeah, of the 3 that didn't submit anything up to our meeting, I believe 13 was the one that did submit everything. We could go to, I guess, come back to that and go to 15.
Okay.
All right, so number 15, this is the first tree activity permit. It's Sonia Gibson block party. The committee recommended that application be approved. Number 16 is Family Fun Day street event. The committee recommended that application be approved. I'm gonna kind of go through these quick, so I'm not gonna be able to look up at that. Number 17 was 111th Street Old Timers Day Single Block Festival. The committee recommended that application be approved. Number 18 was SB Day. It's a block party. The committee recommended that application be approved. Number 19 was Shake the Block. It's a health fair. The committee recommended that application be approved. Number 20, Uptown Bounce Street Event. The committee recommended that application be approved. Number 21, A Healthy You Block Party. At the time of the meeting, the committee recommended that application be approved. Applicant has subsequently provided all necessary documentation. Number 22, 12th Annual Welcome Home Barbecue Block Party. The committee recommended that application be denied. Number 23, DeWitt Clinton Houses Block Party. The committee recommended that application be approved. Number 24, 12th Annual Welcome Home Barbecue Block Party. The committee recommended that application be denied. Number 25, Community Day Religious Event. The committee recommended that application be approved. Number 26, Back to School Education Block Party. The committee recommended that application be approved. Number 27, Salsa El Barrio Multicultural Event Block Party. The committee recommended that application be approved. Number 28. So it's like the same thing. I believe it's just different dates. Number 28, Salsa El Barrio Multicultural Event Block Party. Committee recommended that application be approved. Number 29, 9th Annual Freestyle Old Timers Day Street Event. The committee recommended that application be approved. Number 30, Back to School Rally Street Event. The committee recommended that application be denied. Number 30, Wilson Houses Block Party. The committee recommended that application be approved. Number 32, Afro Bembe. The committee recommended that application be approved. Number 33, Old Timers Block Party. The committee recommended that application be approved. Number 30, Outreach Block Party. The committee recommended that application be denied at the time of the meeting. applicant has subsequently provided all necessary documentation. Number 35, Community Appreciation Day, block party. The committee recommended that application be approved. Number 36, Community Love Day, street event. The committee recommends that this application be denied. Number 37, Harbor Houses Family Day, block party. The committee recommended that this application be approved. Number 38, 104th block party. The committee recommends that this application be denied. The applicant, well, there's some stuff there, you can read on your own. Number 39, Mexico Vive Single Block Festival. The committee recommended that this application be approved. Number 40, Hispanic Heritage Fest Single Block Festival. Committee recommends that this application be approved. Number 41, Hope Community Annual Fall Fest Block Party. The committee recommends that this application be approved. I think that was it.
Great, thank you very much, everyone. What I'm going to do. Well, I'm going to, yes.
I just had a question
Yes.
about the five amigos on Juan Cubano. Why were they denied?
I don't know if I was present at that meeting. I wasn't at the first one, and they probably didn't have all their documents. If it's a renewal, that's usually the reason.
It was number 5, yeah.
Yeah. And it's checking there, too.
I think it was June 7th.
For the Five Amigos, the only documentation that we have is their 30-day notice. They're missing the rest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so and they.
Because they know they get renewed.
Yes.
I guess,
Still,
I have a similar question. Why was, the Exodus block party denied? But then how come it's listed here twice? 22 and 24.
Sorry, I'm gonna try to get back to.
Which numbers? 22 and 24.
22. Oh, okay, you're reading the sponsor, got you. Application be denied. I'm gonna assume they were missing their documents. That's really the only reason we would deny somebody.
Oh.
Angel can verify that, but usually when they don't submit something and then they're not present, they get denied.
That's,
And the requirements are minimal right now for a lot of them. You need a one letter of support usually and a street map, safety street map. We're not even asking for the signature. It's not a lot.
That was it, Andrew.
One second. So 22 is the 12th annual, is that what you're referring to?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there's 2 of them.
Yeah, and then it's 22 and 24.
12th annual welcome home barbecue.
It's the same thing.
It's the same exact thing.
I think it was a typo.
Yeah.
Same date.
We have no documents.
Okay.
And it's one.
And the other one is.
I think it's the same. Was it?
Or.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's
it's
just a
you
typo.
can disregard that.
that's right, point one.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the committee?
Can I
Yes.
ask that when you call the number, even though we disregard 24, just keep using those numbers so I can track them on?
I will. Thank you. Thank you. So, and what we're going to do before we go to the 2 items that were number 7 and 10, we actually have the applicants. And we present to discuss. I'm going to call these numbers out as the committee has passed them, the committee's recommendation. I am going to carve out 12, 13, and 14. We will deal with those individual votes since we now have their status. And then we will revert back to 7 and 10 for discussion committee. Is everyone on the same page? No pun intended. All right, number 2 is to approve. Number 3 is to deny. Number 4 is to approve. Number 5 is to deny. Number 6 is to deny. Number 7, we are laying on the table for discussion. Number 8 is to deny. Number 9 is to approve. Number 10 is being put on the table for discussion. Number 11 is to approve. 12, 13, and 14 to come at a later vote after this motion. 15 is to approve. 16 approve. 17 approve. 18 approved. 19 approved. 20 approved. 21 denied. 22 denied. 23 approved. 24 struck from the record. 25 approved. 26 approved. 27 approved. 28 approved. 29 approved. 30 denied. 31 approved. 32 approved. 33 approved. 34 denied. 35 approved. 36 denied. 37 approved. 38 denied. 39 approved. 40 approved. 41 Approved. Is there a motion to accept the committee's recommendations? Yes. No. Second. Marissa, second. Please call the roll.
Jose Altamirano,
Yes.
Madam Rehab. Yes. Jessica Elliott,
Yes.
John Green.
Aye.
Marissa Mack,
Yes.
Elsa Rama.
Yes.
David Santiago,
Yes.
Isaac Scott.
Yes to all except 22.
uh, 720. Okay, motion carried. And your vote on 22 is,
To, not vote in favor of it.
so both the recommendations. Okay.
I know they didn't do what they were supposed to do, but. It's principle.
Motion carries. Thank you very much. Now we're going to go to numbers 12, 13, and 14. Angel, please, in the air table 12, due to they provided all their documents. This is manual not college doing business is not college routine, the new application for the license number 1167451.
Provided all documentation.
All right, I will entertain a
No,
motion.
I'm in a committee board
to-
meeting. Way back, okay?
Who is that?
Okay.
This is Oh, this is Ellen. Hi, Ellen. Can you mute yourself, please?
We have not gotten to your action item. Thank you. I see a hand, Jules. Jules, we have not gotten to number 10 either. We are coming back to that. All right, they provided all, so yes.
Motion,
Motion to
a
approve.
motion to approve the manual and part of doing business as no county proceed as they have provided all these documents.
Okay, second. Isaac, please call the roll.
Jose Altamirano,
In favor.
Madam Rehab,
Yeah.
Jessica Elliott,
Yes.
John Green. Marissa Mack,
Yes.
Elsa Rama,
Yes.
David Santiago,
Aye.
Isaac Scott.
Yeah.
Motion carried.
Yeah, thank you. Jules, I'll recognize you for a moment. You had a question about the other items?
Just on 10, just have a comment, a few comments
Yeah,
and questions
we are
on
not
how we
10
deal
yet.
with it.
We're going,
I-
yes, thank
I
you,
hear you.
Jules. Yes,
Okay,
we're
thank
gonna
you.
hit 7 and then 10 after we hit 13 and 14. Okay?
Gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, number 13, have they provided all of their documents?
Number 13, only provided the 30-day notice.
Okay, so they're missing the other items. So 13 is say local diner corp doing business as Live Anita. Renewal application for a full liquor license number 1286513. And since they've only provided one of the, how many documents they needed them? 3 or
They need a stipulation questionnaire of the notice so people know that they're, so they're missing 3, I think.
okay, great. So our automatic process is for denial. Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to deny.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Jose is second. To deny number 13. Let's call the roll.
Jose Altamirano,
Yes.
Madam Rehab,
Yes.
Jessica Elliott,
Yes.
John Green. Marissa Mack,
Yes.
Elsa Rama.
Yes.
David Santiago,
Aye.
Isaac Scott, yes, motion carries.
Okay, last 14. APQ 1399, that's in New York. Receiving businesses they found people then. There's a renewal application for wine, beer, and cider license number 1332399. Did they provide all of their documents?
This applicant only provided their 30-day notice and the public notification.
Okay, so what are they missing then?
Questionnaire and the stipulation as far as.
Okay, for our rules, that would be an automatic denial. Is there a motion?
I'll make it again, motion to deny.
A second? Nelson?
Yes.
Second, please call the roll.
Jose,
Yes.
Madam,
Yes.
Jessica,
Yes.
John. Marissa,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Xavier,
Aye.
Isaac. Motion carried.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, we are now going to move back up to number 7. And this was originally a denial for the application on Benita Deli Inc. for a new beer and cider license for a restaurant located at 2301 West Avenue. It's corner of 118th Street. And according to the notes here, the applicant did provide the required documents, however, there were 30311 made against the address. The representative of the applicant attended the meeting on the client's behalf and was unable to address the 311. As a result, the license permits committee denied the application, gave an opportunity to return and be reviewed by the executive. We will now recognize Ellen Lee, and then, since you were there at that meeting, correct? I'll
Yes.
allow you to engage.
You want me to give a
Well,
summary? or-
Yes, if you just give a summary, I read it. Ellen? Adam's going to give a quick summary.
Yes, thank you.
So there were, I believe, 33111s. Miss Lee was there. She did her best to answer the questions, but she's a representative. I don't think she's been to the location or is familiar. So when we ask questions like, do you know why you're getting these 311s? You know, what if it has been a problem posed by this establishment, what are they doing to correct that? You know, we've asked in the past, places do soundproofing, et cetera. She wasn't really able to answer that. We asked if anybody from the establishment, when the owners was there. At the time of that, they weren't. I believe they joined on after we had voted. So that's why I kind of said you can come back if they'll allow you, if they can answer those questions, kind of. So that's it.
All right, Ellen, you're recognized. Were you able to get some new information for us?
Yes, I pulled up, I went to the 311 complaint log list, and none of the 30 complaints belong to us. It was regarding the neighborhood radius of about a block away, but none of the complaint calls were regarding the deli itself with the noise. There are no complaints on any of the 30 complaint 311 calls regarding this exact location, 2301 First Avenue, La Costanita Deli, and I emailed. That's why Molly was able to add us on the this board meeting.
Adam, do you have access to those 311s?
Yeah, I have a spreadsheet. What's the address of the establishment again?
This is going to be.
2301.
Okay, yeah, so, I mean, the spreadsheet I have, the incident address says 2301 on all of them. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jose.
I
Yeah.
logged on the 311 website. It's telling me exact location of each calls.
It
It's
says loud music, party, club, bar, restaurant, store, commercial,
But it says
and they
that,
all have
right?
2301 First Avenue.
when you type in 2301, these all pop up, but each when you click on each one, it tells you exactly what the complaint was about.
They all say noise.
It's usually.
I'm looking at illegal parking, animal abuse, blocked driveway, blocked
Maybe we can
driveway.
forward you, maybe we can forward it to her?
If she gives me an email, I'll do my best.
Could you put your
I wish I had my
email,
laptop.
could you put your email in the chat and then we'll see if we can. That way you can have the most up-to-date information. Or you can forward it from your phone.
Yeah,
Okay, why don't we share that real quick, so we can get clarity on this before we reverse the committee's decision.
A,
Take
B,
that
C
under
license.
consideration.
Whoa.
What other businesses are, Ellen, what other businesses are on near the deli?
There's a laundromat,
yeah, I mean, I live a block.
there's
There's a laundry.
Evelyn's is right next to there, but Evelyn's is closed at that time.
There's really no,
There's nothing really, right?
there's like a deli across the street. There's a bakery and coffee shop, but they closed. There's a recycling place on the corner. They're never open late.
They're the only ones.
They're really, yeah, I mean, I don't want to say that for a fact, but it's pretty sure.
Well, at the corner, they have the
The laundromat. And
Yeah.
then you have,
corner's
the
laundromat,
other
then
corner's empty.
the other
So-
corner's
So. Alan, so again, it seems like this is the one business that would have an interaction on a regular basis that would engage with that particular. You know, with the
I'm really
purchase. and
sorry to say
everything.
this,
Adam's gonna be
Ellen
sharing
at
this.
abclicense.us.
So. How is it that they're associated with the other addresses? The other businesses? Alan?
Okay, I sent the.
Let me take a look at the where you pulled up all these reports, because what I'm looking at, they're giving me different information.
Oh, came in. I heard a boom.
Okay. While she reviews that, I'm gonna, committing, we're gonna go on to 10 right now. While she reviews that, we'll come back to that. So she has the new information to double check. Thank you. We'll go on to the number 10, which is approval of the application for Beer and Cheese, LLC to renew a wine, beer and cider license number 1260518 restaurant located at 1259 Park Avenue and 97th Street. We understand that Mr. Feynman, Jules Feynman, missed it, and we'd like to speak on the issues. And before I go to him, I see another hand raised. Is that Otto?
Marcos Cotto Batres.
We recognize- You have a question about this action item,
Could
Marcos?
we have a background on this? Because it says approved.
Yeah, I want to give, I
Yeah,
thought it'd be
what's
helpful.
it? I just want to see what this raised hand is, please. Marcos,
Yeah, hi.
you had a raised
Yes.
hand.
Sorry, can you guys hear me?
What's your regarding
Yes,
the?
sorry, I'm the representative for number 13, also Little Diner Corp. I know you guys have, you've moved on from that item.
Yeah, we voted on that.
If we can, I don't know if there's any way to address it, or I guess the general question is, we've sent the documents in to Ms. Pierre, to Marlene Pierre.
Okay,
I
so then
just-
I'm just gonna have to ask you to wait just a moment. Let me get through the
That's
other
no problem.
items.
Thank you.
And then we will circle back to 13, even though we take a position. Okay, so just bear with us.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Back to 10, Jules, you're recognized.
I think
Yo, wait, before, sorry, down, please.
All right, so just as quick as possible, Earl's brought all their documents. The reason they had to come to the meeting was they also had 311s. I think I might have told Jules it was 30. I think I flipped it. They might have only had 15 or so. But when you look at their 311 log, they only had like one in the last 8 months. And the person, the representative or manager for Earl's came on and he told us about mitigation, et cetera. And, you know, just based on the 311 trends, for there to only be one in the last 8 months is really not cause for alarm. Subsequent to that, we were told, if you look at all their documentation, that they were only doing recorded music. We don't do spot checks at these places. We, you know, it's an honor system. We take their word. Since that went through, Mr. Feynman says that they are playing amplified live music outside, having live bingo events. Unfortunately, there's no box to check for like live bingo events, so we wouldn't know if they were or weren't doing that. But I thought it would be best then that we invite him to this meeting as well as Earl's. So we could kind of get to the bottom of it, because I'm going off what the paper said, Earl's had every right to be approved.
Okay.
But that's what the paper said.
Is there a representative from Earl's here? Please identify yourself so we can promote you to families. Okay.
Can you guys
while
hear
we
me?
wait-
Oh, there he is.
Okay, we do have a representative. Is that Dan or no?
D.
D Brown.
Okay, great. I just want to make sure you're here. We're going to listen from
Yeah, they
Jules
get
and then we'll be able to have you respond.
Okay.
Thank you. Jules?
Mr. Feynman?
Jules Feynman?
Oh, I got the unmute. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much for the time. I'll be as quick as possible. We are not looking to shut this bar down. We do dispute the number of 311 calls, and I'll be happy to get an affidavit from people living upstairs. They have made more than one call in 8 months, a lot more, and also dozens to the bar directly. Given that the renewal notice was only posted on the door and not anywhere else on the block, and it was posted high up on the window with tiny type, no one knew that this hearing was going. Forget about the issue of secondary meeting that we don't see anywhere in the minutes, but that's a whole nother issue. The license holder has been in violation of its current license by holding live music and amplified events. Excuse me, the bingo was a few years ago. I understand now it's trivia nights. And while the manager has tried very hard to keep the window shut, it is amplified, and the customers are opening the window, and the people who are living upstairs are getting it straight up through the air shaft. There are speakers out, and there's now one speaker. There were two speakers out the front. There's giant open door type windows, so that even if there are no speakers, any loud music and crowd noise from the inside is coming right out on the street. We'd like to know, I'm going to summarize this really quick if we can get these as stipulations. We want no more live music, no more amplified trivia nights, bingo nights, or any other amplified events anymore at this location. We would like an on-the-record notice to the SLA that the neighbors have reported that the applicant in the past violated the current license regarding live music and amplified events, because we think this would help the NYPD. They can instantly shut down any future events not permitted to the license, not just ask them to lower it down. Additionally, we'd like those speakers out of there, permanently removed, banned, and not just moved inside these giant open door, I don't know what you call these kind of portico windows that are you know, floor to ceiling practically, because if the speakers are just moved inside and aimed out on the street, that's not going to help anybody. We don't know how to accomplish this. We'd like to ask license and permits and executive board if you can add these as a stipulation, whatever you need to do so that everybody can coexist. We like the 2 bars on the block. We noticed that Guthrie's is also very loud. We're going to work on that problem so we're not focusing just on Earl's. In the past, license and permits and Earl's knows that we have backed their efforts at renewal. We're not trying to, like, you know, turn the block into a silent little street, but everybody who lives upstairs and in front walks around. The customers are like loud, raucous, and drunk, and we need to work on getting it quieted down. Thank you for giving me the time.
Thank you very much, Jules. Dee, do you wish to respond?
Yeah, me and Juice spoke yesterday about this, and we originally had like 2 speakers out there, and he told me like it's a little bit loud. The neighbors told me it's a little bit loud. They called me, they texted me. We removed that speaker. We lowered it down to a point where she said it was fine, and just make sure that the air shafts is closed. We're doing like everything we could. There's also a bar right next to us that's also like playing a lot of music, so we can't really like a lot of calls. Maybe it's like if there's 2 bars like literally like right next to each other. Like yesterday, our music was really low. I hung out with Juice for like maybe 30 minutes. We spoke and it was like really low. I asked him, was it okay? We don't want like any problems. Whatever we have to do to, you know, stop the 311 calls and just continue business is what like we're willing to do at this point. Like we do host like trivia night every Monday from 8 o'clock to about 9 o'clock for about an hour. I spoke to neighbors. They said it was fine as long as the window shafts are closed. So like we're aware that like there's noise. We don't want any noise. We don't want any problems. We just want to just do business. So whatever is necessary to be done, we're not like against anything. We just want to know like how we can coexist, like just moving forward. Yeah, to make just like everybody's like much easier.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Dee. Are there any questions from the committee?
For wine, beer, and I'm sorry, excuse me.
Yeah.
So for wine, beer, and cider, do we have control over the kind of music they play inside? Is that something that is?
Yeah. I mean, they have to sign a stipulation.
So what's in their stipulation?
Background recorded music.
Background recorded. So D, are you playing? Is it live music or is it not live music?
If it's outdoors and it's amplified, that's also not background recorded music.
It's not. So because we have a deck outside that's shared with the 3 bars. Like we have a deck outside. It's shared amongst like three places, like a Jamaican restaurant and then also like a cocktail bar. So like everybody outside is like not our customers. It's like that thing is shared. We have 1 speaker out. We've removed the speaker out, and like we did have for a while like the guitarist was playing like inside, but our windows was open. But we since canceled that. Like last week we didn't do it because one of the ladies upstairs, Mary, informed us that it was a little bit loud. We don't have no problem with taking a loud because that wasn't an issue. We stopped it. We didn't do that. We do trivia nights every Monday because just Mondays is like super slow. It's like we would have to close and like hurt business. So we do trivia nights on Monday as well. And again, we call her, we text her, she comes down, and it's usually fine. But like whatever else needs to be done, like we're willing to do it. It doesn't.
But are you playing live music? I'm sorry, just so I didn't get the answer.
It was like a guitarist, like he would play some for about an hour or 2, and then she made us aware that like it was a little loud, so we didn't do it last week, and we're not gonna do it going forward. So that's not a problem at all. And then we do trivia nights, which is just like just a normal trivia night in the back of Earl's. And like if it ever gets loud, because like there's windows there, it's air shaft, and Jules even recommended like getting these things to shut the window so customers can't open it. One time, like a customer opened the window because they were hot, And like she said, oh, it was loud. And I was like, oh yeah, customer open, I'm sorry. And I closed it. And now like these things we're gonna get to actually shut the window so like a customer can't open it unknowingly. And that was an issue with the trivia night. But other than that, I haven't heard any other issues besides that from like Mary upstairs. And again, we're willing to do whatever it takes to like lower it down so that like, you know, we can coexist here.
Then did you have a follow-up?
Yeah, I mean, again, I know there's been conflicting on the number of 311s, but I have the spreadsheet the same way I sent it to Ellen. There are 15 for this location. I was wrong because they're out of order for some reason. There were 3, as far as this says in 2023, but 15 in the last 2 years, which is not, if this is correct, it's a cause for concern, but it's not astronomical, if I'm being honest.
All right, so Dee, I'm just gonna, do any other committee members have a question? Okay, so Dee, what I'd like to see, would you be willing to commit and arranging a meeting with the other proprietors there, along with the neighbors, to find a tenable pathway forward for the noise variance?
Yes, I'm willing to do.
And I'm
Yep,
sure
I'm-
either them or myself or another one of our executive committee would be willing to join and find a tenable pathway forward.
Yeah,
With
yeah,
Jules
that-
as well. Are you open to that?
yeah,
Are you talking to me?
open.
I'm asking both of you, are you both willing? We set up a meeting along with Guthrie and all the others, so we can find a tenable pathway forward.
Yes, I'm down. I'm again, I'm whatever can make everybody's life easier. We can talk about it. I'm willing to, again, we stopped the guitarists outside, we took out the speaker, we closed earlier, even we closed like a bit later, we started closing earlier. We like doing the best we could. Like we don't like the close either. It's not good for customers to, you know, like
Dee, I
cops
hear
always show
you.
up.
Yeah, Dee, I hear you. Jules, are you willing to engage in that way? I didn't.
He said he was muted and he needs something.
Jules, you're unmuted.
I would imagine he would say
And he
yes.
says, isn't the live and any amplified already prohibited?
Jules,
You're muted.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
are you willing to
I'm-
engage?
I'm sorry. I thought I was still muted. Forgive me. I'm sorry. Well, here's the question. Isn't live and music and any amplified instance inside already prohibited in their license?
He answered that question already, that they had stopped that and they've adjusted, but I've asked as a tenable pathway forward. Would you, along with some of your neighbors, and we get Guthrie and a few others, and we all meet and find a solution? We have done that this year with several other organizations throughout the neighborhood to make things
Okay.
more.
Okay,
community-led
we're-
approach.
okay, we
yes or no?
clearly. I'm not interested in negotiating live music and amplified sounds coming out
No,
of that
we
bar.
stopped the live music. There's no more live music.
Then if we can just get that into a stipulation, then we're done. From our point of view, we're good.
Jules, I've already asked my question. You're ready to meet. We're gonna set up a meeting with this, but they've already
Fine.
stipulated that all of that is stopped. Yes, down.
Terrific.
It is
Thank you very much.
stipulated Because
Thank you.
in their stipulation, they say they're only playing recorded music. It would be redundant to say that. So
Great.
technically,
Okay.
they have
Okay.
operated outside of
All
it.
right, great. All right.
Thank you
we've
very much.
answered our questions.
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna
That
move
does
the
answer
agenda. Yeah, we're gonna move the agenda along. I appreciate you bringing this to us, and we're gonna come together. We'll set up a meeting. And we'll bring everyone together and find a pathway forward. We have done that. Adem has gone on walkabouts with me, and we're gonna make it happen, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll now entertain a motion to reaffirm. Yes, Nelson. Second by, call the roll, please. Yes.
Jose,
Where did you consent you?
Adem,
Yes.
Jessica,
Yes.
John Green, Larissa,
yes.
Melissa,
Yeah.
Xavier, Isaac. Yes. Motion carried.
Okay, thank you. Moving on, yes. Moving on to the agenda, number 7, Ms. Ellen Lee, have you reviewed the 311s?
Yes, I'm looking at the police complaint logs, the spreadsheet, but the complaints for the most recent from February, just choosing those 4 February to April. The calls were made well after 10 p.m. They closed at 10. And these calls were made close to midnight and shortly after midnight. These are not us. I spoke to the owner again. She said that's not us. And if we, and the police came on those 4 incidents, they had to, and they addressed the issue and they fixed the problem. That means summons were given or someone, they did not receive any summons. The police never came to them, so it's not us. The address clearly says 2301, but it's not the deli.
Right, so, this lady, why are the owners not here?
She's there. She's Miss Rocio is there. It's just that she's
lady.
there. I speak to her. she joined. She's there. And the meeting, if you speak to her in Spanish, maybe she'll respond because she does understand very little English, but this is not her. She's here. She joined the meeting. She's in the meeting now.
Okay, Jose has volunteered to translate.
Okay, thank you.
Who's the individual?
Got him.
Hey, you have to
Where
do-
is she?
You have to do
What's her name?
both ways, sir?
Miss Rocio. Rocio.
You find it?
She called. She's on the phone. She
Okay,
called the
okay. Wait.
646 number.
We're gonna find her.
Rocio, she can, well, she has to unmute herself.
You can unmute her.
I can't. I
No?
can only ask them to unmute.
Oh, that's all right. So
Rocio's. Okay, go ahead, Jose.
she there?
Yes.
Señora Rocío,
Sí,
¿cómo está?
muy bien, gracias.
Perfecto. Le teníamos una pregunta del negocio porque tiene algunas llamadas de el 311 que están llamando por complaint de ruidos.
Pero es que yo no, pero yo no tengo ruido, no tengo nada. Es lo que no entiendo por qué están diciendo eso.
¿A qué hora usted cierra el negocio? I'm asking what time they close to.
Yo cierro a las 2 de la mañana.
So she closed at 2 in the morning. It's very different. All right. Pero sí hay algunas llamadas que no han. How many? 30?
30 in my career.
So en los últimos 2 años ha habido 30 llamadas.
Ask her because
Guys, volume.
ask her because it's a new application, but I think they were operating for, just ask her how long she's had the business for.
Señora Rocío, ¿cuánto tiempo usted tiene este negocio?
Llevo un poco tiempo, como 2 años.
She has it for 2 years.
So that's pretty much the start her time.
What else you want me to ask her?
Committee members to you.
Deme un momentito para ver qué otra pregunta tienen. Any other questions that should I explain to her? Because she says no. All right, so señora Rocío, muchos de los complaints de ruido que están teniendo música alta, que hay bebidas, cosas de esa manera, y por eso es que inicialmente están, la aplicación suya la están negando. Por esas llamadas que se están haciendo, la mayoría han sido de música alta. No sé si usted quiere explicar por qué pasó, cómo pasó.
Pero es que es el problema, que yo no tengo música alta, solamente está la televisión, la que está prendida. No tengo ningún modular ni nada.
Okay, un momento. She says she only has a TV. She doesn't have stereo. She doesn't have a speaker or anything like that.
We, on January 1st at 2:44 was the complaint. Loud music party there at 2:24 on the 1st.
Yeah, I mean, I already told her that. They're
Yeah.
complaining.
So yes to them.
Yeah, I'm only going off their questionnaire. They do check that they have recorded music. I don't know what that means, but.
According to her, they play from the TV.
The music? Or do they play the TV?
So la música, la televisión, ¿la usan solo para televisión o también tocan música de la televisión? Porque ahora las televisiones pueden tocar música.
No, solamente está la tele prendida, no hay música.
There's no music, they only turn on the TV.
But here they're saying they have recorded music. I don't know. I'm just.
Recorded music with the soft background music.
Yeah, but she's saying they don't have any music at all.
Yeah, so-
Contradicting each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then, any other questions from the committee? All right, thank you, Jose.
Gracias,
Jose.
gracias, señora.
Gracias, Jose.
De nada.
Okay, committee. The license department issued a denial. We have heard. regrettably a contradiction of statements. So I will entertain a motion to affirm the committee's original position. Or to approve, either way, but it needs to come from this committee. So someone please. Yes, yes.
Motion to approve the committee's recommendations to deny.
Is there a second? Isaac? Okay. Please call the roll.
Jose,
Yes.
Adam,
Yes.
Jessica,
Yes.
John, Larissa,
Yes.
Melissa,
Yeah.
Xavier, yes, Isaac, yes, the motion carried.
Thank you very much, everyone, for being here. I'm not going to put the agenda long. Yeah.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You guys said we had another one.
Oh, okay.
That's what those motions.
So, hear me, so
Wait,
Yeah,
did
hold
we,
on.
did we do 12 yet?
Did we do 12? Oh, sorry, my apologies. Thank you very
I
much.
felt like we got through that too.
Yeah, thank you. Not 12, it was 13.
What's the-
Number 13,
We
or
already denied 13, but Marco.
but there's a representative from one of them.
What was his name again?
Marcos?
Marco.
Arcos?
Yes, how are you?
Which one are you, is this 13?
Number 13, Lavanida.
Okay, we only received we have a process, so if you just kind of explain, you know, you missed, we had 2 licenses and permits meetings, right? And then was these, were they on the agenda?
Yeah, because, no, maybe not. They didn't, if they didn't submit anything, I don't think so.
Okay, all right, so we only got your 30-day notice.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. So I was in with contact with Ms. Pierre, and so she was the one that said that we can appear. I wasn't familiar with I guess the two meeting process, but we submitted it I think mid-June, and Ms. Pierre said that we can appear at this June 22nd meeting. So I guess if you guys are willing to reconsider, I'd like to talk about it. But if you have to move on the agenda, I understand that. I just wanted to know what the process would be like. Just resend them. I know Ms. Pierre has the documents because I sent it to her email. I don't know. I think there was a comment about not reviewing them or not having enough time to review them. So I just wanted to know how we can move forward.
Hello, sir. When were the documents submitted to Ms. Pierre? Because at the close of business yesterday, we did not have it.
It was the stipulation. Let me find that email.
When were they sent, sir?
They were sent yesterday.
At what time, sir?
I'm looking for that email now. Okay, so yeah, it probably was after closing. It looks like we sent the photos with the notice posted at 4:29 p.m. And then the other documents, the supporting documents, the stipulation, the C of O, and the questionnaire at 8:07 p.m. So if that's after closing, then I understand.
Yes, sit down.
When did you, just out of curiosity, when did you put the posting up in the establishment window?
We put it up yesterday.
And it hasn't even been up for 7 days.
Yep, that's what I mean. I
So-
think we received from Ms. Pierre. We received this on June 20th. That's when we received the documents.
It's a renewal, correct?
That's correct.
I don't think you should have to wait to receive the documents. You can go on the website and get them at any time and do it yourself.
Yeah, no, that I understand. We were just we were wondering if we would even be able to make it onto this June meeting. That's why we sent them. We asked Miss Pierre if we can appear, and she said we can. So she sent us the documents. We did the best we could to fill them and post everything
Okay,
as quickly as possible. So
All right, Marcus, thank you. I think thank you, Adam and Angel. I think in this, typically we would have these submitted and then we'd have to trigger another meeting in July where executive would meet, which we have done in the past. And if, I would be willing to entertain, in the interest of time, a conditional approval if you think that them in this case, since they just got everything, or I will entertain the recommendation.
Can we do that, or can we?
Don't we have to wait?
Yeah, can we deny it and they can resubmit a new 30-day notice and then we can meet in July?
We can.
I mean, I don't know.
So choose.
listen, if I'm gonna speak frankly here, you know, we had 2 meetings, everyone had 21 extra days. I barely could get quorum at the second meeting. We're sitting there for hours. If it's a new license, people haven't been through the procedure. When it's a renewal, you've done this before. At the same time, I don't want to think a business is going without their liquor license. So if we have to meet in July, we have to meet in July. But my issue is, when does this stop? You know, when do people just follow procedure? But I'll meet in July if we have to. It's fine.
Then if we are going to stick to the procedure, then that's what we will have. But I have to, we have a.
We can deny, he could submit it. Angel, if he submits the new 30-day notice tomorrow, we could meet at the end of July theoretically, right? Yeah, like we could, so make that clear to him and we could deny this tonight. He could submit it.
We have already issued a denial. Marcos?
Yeah.
Did you hear
If
the
I may say that,
recommendation?
yeah, the license, if I may leave you guys, the license expires at the end of July. So I guess if we can make that meeting sooner, we would appreciate that, but I know procedures are procedures.
Before the end of July.
We will arrange a meeting before the end of July. Please make sure that everything is prepared.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. The position stands. Now we will move on to human services.
12, what about item 12?
Well, we already voted on that to approve.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they have provided all the documents.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, now we can go ahead, human services,
So,
42 and then 43.
copy. So items 42 and 43 are from the Human Services Committee. Huh?
Go ahead.
So, we have, our first action item is a motion to accept the changes made to the existing, resolution requesting a moratorium on, sitting new and any new drug rehabilitation and chemical dependency or treatment centers within Community District 11. So, I've mentioned this a lot over, the past few months, that the existing document we had didn't actually advocate for. It got us to where we needed to get people to the table, but it needed to be updated so that it could properly reflect, you know, the requests that were being made by community members, and especially through the statement of district needs. So we, and thank you, Jessica, for recommending and suggesting the extra month, because folks did take the extra month to do the work, but it was well worth it, because the document now with its changes do now advocate for collaboration at the conceptual phase of the siting. It also does advocate for a better quality of services. It also does advocate for more collaboration and partnerships between Oasis and different organizations to be able to offer more wraparound services or emergency support services where there may be a need. So would it be good if I just read the whole letter on record, or do we?
You don't typically.
Okay, so if y'all, you know,
No, it was in our packet materials, so.
okay, so we want to go home. So with that, I believe that the committee did its work, and that we have that document that I was very, very passionate about us getting, one that is humanizing and one that does advocate in line with the district needs.
Yep, and listening in on the committee, we had a lot of new voices to speak up, and I think that is it takes a lot of nudging, and it's good, it's encouraged that, so yeah. Yes.
What's the strength of
The document now?
Yeah.
I think the document now, what it did before the document, that's a great question. The document before really was like, hey, we just want to get people to the table and give us the numbers of what's out there. And it was more like a document that was being used to say, hey, we don't want this in our community. Whereas this document now articulates our understanding of the importance of these programs, but also understanding that we are inundated in a lot of ways. There's a disproportionate amount of programs here, and that there needs to be some relief. And now it is, I believe that it is advocating in line with what we need with respects to if there is an oversaturation of, or if there's too many programs, then that, respectfully, if there's too many programs and we still have the needs, we see them in the community, that means the quality of the services in these programs need to be enhanced. And in that way, this document does ask for a better quality of the services that are being provided. So we're asking Oasis to require more from the programs they cite.
Yes, Justin.
I was just asking if we were planning on bundling this with the next item.
I know, I'm gonna carve them out, because they're two separate.
Okay, are we ready? to make the motion?
I am.
I would like to motion to support the committee's recommendations.
Second.
I'll second that hard work.
Okay.
I think this goes on. Jose,
Yes.
Adam.
Yes.
Jessica. Yeah. John. Marissa.
Yes.
Nelson.
Yes.
Xavier. Isaac.
Yes.
Jason. Did you have?
Yes.
Thank you all very, very much. I've lost a lot of sleep over the work to get that passed, so thank you all very much.
Can I ask a question for clarity? Jen? Yeah, this, and I read the motion, it wasn't specific towards the HPD or the supportive housing, this was just specific to drug treatment facilities.
Yeah.
Okay, this was for 25.
Yeah, it was specific in that, and it was really, honestly, I think and the goal is to every year take a look at this document and update it respectfully, but I think at the very least, it had to come out of the form that was in already. So I think what we were able to do is get it to a form that's a little bit more representative. It doesn't hit everything on the nose, but that would have took us another few months to get stuff, but I think it does. It got us out of where we were at, and we're set up to really revisit this next year and really add some,
Committee's work never stops. Okay,
so next item, and thank you for your questions too. It keeps me accountable. So next was a letter of support. A letter of support, and I guess we wanted to oppose the mayor's fiscal 2024 budget cuts, calling, the cut specifically to meals for seniors. So this was a motion made by Jewel and seconded by April. But pretty much there's a significant cut being made to the meals programs, and this is going to significantly impact aging people at a time where folks are still not able to come outside or not comfortable coming outside. Pantries are not, enough. They definitely don't deliver. So it's making it even harder for folks who are aging in place to be able to have access to food. So that was the purpose of this motion.
Yeah, it was brought to, and then you had a question. Robin brought it to us after she presented it was 6, and they called attention, and during the pandemic, if you remember, there were a lot of homebound seniors who we were trying to make the included in nitrogen all. So this is a response to what typically we'll issue letters of positions that we're trying. So yeah, that's why we made a response to the budget process. Yes, basically, a question.
I'm ready to make a motion, Jen.
Okay, there are no other questions here on the matter. All right, you recognize?
Motion to support the committee's recommendation.
Is there a second? I see, John. Okay. Please call the roll.
Jose.
Aye.
Adam.
Yes.
Jessica.
Yes.
John. Marissa.
Yes.
Elsa.
Yes.
Xavier. Isaac.
Yes.
Jason.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you all again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We will now move on to youth and education. Yeah.
I wasn't there.
I was there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Would you like it?
Either both, you want to talk about it? Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not, okay, yes. So,
Yeah.
forgive me. I didn't prepare for this, but there was a motion, so yes, some young people, presented on, the importance of being able to vote or changing that vote. So there was a motion, to support in New York State legislation 660 and A 274, to lower the voting age to 16 years old, for New York State and New York City elections. So this motion was made by Asha and it passed unanimously. So I think this is pretty self-explanatory. We definitely think that young people 16 years old should be able to vote. There's nothing cognitively, keeping them from being able to make rational decisions. So we do believe that it'd be very beneficial to young people being able to get involved with civic engagement a lot earlier and understanding the power in their vote if they could get at it a little earlier. So that was the purpose in the number 43.
On being asked.
Oh, Dave.
David on?
That's Dave.
Oh, wonderful. David? Or Asher?
David could go if he's here. I wasn't sure if David was here.
Sorry, man, I didn't even know. You did a good job. That was a great job.
Either of you, please go ahead. We've already got that on ready. If there's any other thing you want to add to item number 44, if there's nothing
No,
more.
I think Pastor Scott got all of it. So,
All right, I'll entertain a motion. Jason?
Yeah, and I'll add that, they have no issue locking us up at 16, right? So, motion to approve. I'll committee's
Dan,
recommendation.
second. Please call the roll.
Did you vote for second, Joseph?
Down.
Jose,
Yes.
Stephanie, Adam,
Yes.
Jessica,
Yeah.
Dave, John,
Definitely.
Marissa,
Yeah.
Elsa, Xavier,
Aye.
Isaac. Yes. Jason Bielan.
Yes.
Motion carries. Okay, very good. Asher or David, do you want to go into item number 45, the motion to provide a letter of support to graphics?
yeah. So basically, we just re-voted on the agenda item that did not pass, I think, in the April full board meeting. And we're just representing it. It's the same as before. The graphics
Nothing changed.
program to be that the guy wanted a letter to be presented, to be able to work in schools. So
Guys, let's try not to talk while we're, okay. Thank you, Asher. Are there any questions from the committee?
I have a question.
Yes, Adam.
So was there anything presented that changed the vote or they just changed the vote?
nothing was presented that changed the vote. It passed the first time through committee. It just didn't pass through full board. Nothing changed. It's the exact same.
If it passed the committee, my fault, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay,
Can I comment? Can I add to that? It didn't pass at full board because the question came up, well, there were some people who were against it. And once that came into the room, the doubt overwhelmed, and David wasn't there to censor the conversation. So it came to a place where it split literally.
I remember
Yeah.
that.
Jessica,
Jessica, your question.
Did Marissa, do you have a question?
I did. Is this the individual that,
Call themselves doctor?
Yeah.
Yes, it's the same individual that one of the big problems that people were having with him was that myself a doctor. So that was the concern that was brought up.
I don't think it was just that. I don't think it was just,
more.
yeah, there were some other concerning facts that I think.
There were
presented
other-
that were Not.
There was another issue that was raised as it was presented, I'm sorry, around the word of use of targeting individuals. And he basically said, I target those that target your kids. And then it went off that how you take kids and target them, and things went off on tangent. I think what also needed to be reiterated and presented is that he as well asked us to participate in a workshop. Xavier and John Green attended the workshop. One of our committee members knows him and has worked and has seen the work that he has done for 20 years directly as somebody in the community and that is on the committee. And unfortunately, the words hijacked, target got lost in the sauce because it became a word around semantics. And it was interesting because in the Ali Forney presentation earlier that day, they asked, what is your target population? And so I think we got lost on semantics. Now, even the word doctor, he did explain that. He said it's about projecting in future. It's about what his students call him and identify him as. He is working on a doctorate. And I think, again, he did not deny or say he's a doctor and present himself as he is something. And, it just went to a lot of semantics. We spent 3 committee meetings fully discussing this. Unfortunately, as Isaac said, sometimes the nays can hijack the meeting in terms of not really having people see the value of something. This is a program that has over 20 years of tested and positive impact in our community with youth. He has done things at Children's Aid and was part of forums with Gail Brewer that I was involved in as well. It really took a loss that we put this man through such disrespect as a presenter that we don't put half of anybody else that comes to the full board and presents. So yes, he did not have the fact. He answered questions. Yes, he's a little arrogant. He's a little challenging. But again, you know, when you come up and you say, I was a drug dealer, I was a gang gun runner, I terrorized my community, and I'm here to stop that, to no longer do that, and to make a change. You know, sometimes people have different methods by which they reach children. I work with children, and I know there's some children I can't reach, and that they need somebody who presents something different. We had Xavier talk that he went, presented at the committee and at full board. He went and saw the workshop. He understands the work that this man is trying to employ through graphics to help support community and reduce youth violence in our community and gun violence. So, you know, at this point for us to put him through, and I'm sorry to go on, but you know what? I think for one, it helped us and it helped me in going forward and how to run a meeting with more constructive guidelines and also structure and how we allow people to present. Because even one of the members said, okay, first I got this and first I got that. It was like, again, we attacked somebody. And that's not really what we should be doing as community representation for other people that may benefit from something in the community, whether we
So
think
David,
it's
I'm sorry, I
personally
just want to
something.
jump in.
Hold on,
Just-
guys.
I just
Yeah.
want to- because no, I don't have a question, but my statement was really around the programming and what was done. I don't care about what he did previously. I'm glad that he has a program now where he is able to then give back and see, okay, there's something else that I can do in the community. That's completely fine. I think, and what I'm remembering is just questioning around some of the contracts that he had, right? And then some of the actual work that was done.
Right.
So that's where my question
No,
was,
but
David,
you know
not
what?
around attacking or any, and
No,
I'm
no,
just
no,
speaking
but there
from
was-
me, because
no, no, I'm not saying you were.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
No, I know, but let me respond to you. You went on for a few minutes. So what my question to you was just around that specifically. And if this was in fact the same presentation, because it wasn't an issue of
Yes.
picking through his words per se. It was, had you
Right.
done what you said you had done? That was my question in that, so.
Yeah, no, but there was also like, you're absolutely right. And there was issues around clearance and around working in the DOE and even Jose addressed that because Jose said, you're not getting in DOE unless you're cleared. And I know that because I'm waiting 2 or 3 months to have start in DOE. So this wasn't necessarily at you, Marissa. This was more what was presented. You know, it went on too long, and it helped me go back to what Francis used to do. You know, so please don't take it that way.
David.
You're going on pause. Don't make us mute you.
Jose, yes, and then Nilsa, and then you.
You
Okay.
should have left me in the background.
Okay, then Nilsa and then Jose.
David, I just wanted to make a comment that, I don't think that anybody was trying to attack the presenter. I think that there were a lot of people that had.
No, they were in committee. They were in committee.
committee.
Oh, so in
Yeah.
committee, but I'm.
They did in committee.
No, so in committee, I can't speak because, you know, I'm no longer the vice chair and education, but I can speak on the full board. I think that there was a concern and there were questions, and I think a lot of people hadn't seen the committee meeting. And unfortunately, sometimes not everyone is prepared as they should be. And so that they had questions. And so sometimes maybe the questions sounded like they might have been going a certain way. But you know, as part of that meeting, I didn't get the sense that people were trying to disrespect the gentleman. I think that there was just a lot of concern about one, the contracts and whether he had the funding and if he needed space, how did he go about securing space and things like that. So I'm glad that the committee is looking at this again. I myself will look at it further and look at that committee meeting because no one should be felt that way. And so I just wanted to clarify that whatever position I took, it wasn't because of thinking that he couldn't do the work. As you know, I've been in youth development a long time, since 1998, and so you know how hard that work is. And so
Nelson, he did not present a full board. It was what was presented in committee in 2 committee meetings.
I thought that, but his thing came up when it was for the letter of support, and that's where the discussion came up in full board.
No, I wish I could have been there at full board. I did listen to full board. because I did want to hear what the reactions and the comments were and the questions were around this individual and what the committee, put forward as a support for work in the committee, in the community.
Thank you, David, for your efforts. If there are no other questions, I just want to say that I did attend. And when I talked to him after the fact, and he showed the second meeting, but there was a definite shift in tone because we talked brass tacks. The guy was just real direct, and I appreciate that messaging. And I think that's we often ask the question, how do we reach these kids, especially those that we feel like are often lost to society and that's what upsets because it's preventative to them. So he's doing the work, and so Jose, your question.
He also presented a public safety and transportation. And I will iterate that youth violence, especially with a gang orientation, is our biggest public safety issue in this community. So a program like this is definitely something that's welcomed. I know he didn't want to share his proprietary program. Some people wanted that, but I think it is outside of our purview to do that. And he will have Department of Education oversight. And I think that's where it needs to be. I think some board members got a little too much in the minutia and I really think that's not our role, right? Like at the end of the day, it has to go somewhere for funding. It has to be approved by the city. All of that has a step. And if he doesn't want to share his program, I mean, this is a program that he's built from his experience, blood and tears. So, I can understand that, but that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Jess. Are there no other questions?
No. Yeah.
Yes.
Motion to approve the committee's recommendation.
I'll second.
Jose. All right. Yes, and then Jose, please call the roll.
Jose,
Yes.
Madam,
Yes.
Jessica,
Yes.
John. Melissa,
Like, yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Xavier,
Aye.
Isaac. Yes. Jason. Yes. The motion carried.
Thank you very much, committee. Moving on to land use, landmarks and planning. Jason.
Hello.
Going on to, sorry, you must be open. We're just sitting all day after.
Excellent. So item number 46 has to do with the zoning text amendment as it relates to the city of carbon, yes, city of yes with carbon neutrality. The committee had 2 months to review this particular item and we came to the position of approving the recommendations made by DCP with the following conditions that are listed have been submitted to the board. So, any questions?
Can I make a
I
motion?
think you can step in.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Right.
Are there any questions on this motion? No. All right, I would like to entertain a motion. Isaac,
Motion to support the committee's
Second.
recommendation.
motion is for second. All right. We can take a roll.
Jose,
Yes.
Madam,
Yes.
Jessica,
Yes.
John. Marissa,
Yes.
Melissa.
Yes.
Xavier. Isaac.
Yes.
Jason Guerrero,
Yes.
the motion carries.
Sorry, I was deep in my minute taking.
No, and before we move on, just to, again, to flag the 2 pre-look actions right now within the committee is something that we've been trying to do. It's a lot easier with the city the public developments. So we've been doing that. It's been a little helpful. And I really would like for everybody to be open-minded to these pre-look conversations. So then that way, particularly the chairs, if you catch issues and concerns, I mean, of course, we always give everyone our notices and information, but example given, like, I'll have one community-based organization, I'll try a project, I'll do my research, and I'll see that there's 26 other organizations that were a part of that development of the project. So just looking for, as the infamy saying from my vice chair, cross collaboration and the hot topics for the district right now, as some of you may or may not be aware, is the Demolic project. Which is 100% affordable housing. So we need to continue to have that conversation, not only at executive and full board and at private and or public meetings, but most importantly at the committee. And I mean, I would love to cross collaborate and show you some of the organizations that was a part of the East Harlem neighborhood plan that would be a part of some of your purviews with your committees. So then that way we could kind of get them to the table, because just as like Pastor was expressing
about taking positions with, for lack of a better word, with piecemeal information, or because the loudest voices in the room, we may be neglecting some of our constituents within the district. So just wanted to make that general statement.
Thank you very much.
My members available.
Thank you, Jason. Moving on to executive, we have an old business item. The MTA's acquisition of city-owned property for temporary easement to support the Second Avenue Subway Phase 2 project. We have a presentation on this, able to period. They've already given their presentation. Are there any questions from the committee? I'll entertain that motion to support. Yes.
Motion to support the committee for
Well, we are taking the motion. So
Oh,
to either approve or
Oh, sorry. Yes, I make a motion to support the MTA acquisition of city property for secondary uses to support the Second Avenue subway.
Is there a second? Jess?
Second.
All right, please call the roll.
Jose,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Jessica,
Yes.
John, Melissa,
Yes.
Melissa,
Yes.
Xavier,
Aye.
Isaac. Yes. Jason.
No.
Motion carried with one vote.
Thank you very much. On to new business. Okay, we have a couple new business items. Could you, yeah, towards the back. Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much. These items
I can't read.
are on our new business. Gentlemen, thank you. Just real quick, we're nearly there. These items are in September, which wouldn't fall on our calendar to be able to hit in time for either executive or full board, or they just in general when they're going to start. Given the fact that we be to June. So we have the Mexican Independent Day Festival, number 72617, single block festival. It's on September 17th, 2023. Between 116th Street between 2nd and 3rd Avenue. It's full street closure. Applicant is Diana Larazabel and it's sponsored by Uptown Grand Central. I think she was going to be here. Are all the documents present? Okay, I'll read in the second one. While he's pulling up the documents. The next one is Open Streets, Boardington Neighborhood Health Center Street Event. The weekly July 31st through September 15th, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's at East 123rd Street between 2nd and 3rd Avenue. Full street closure, applicant Samuel Vasquez and East Harlem Council Service sponsor. And then again on September 6th, same applicant and sponsor, and that will for their health fair. And then, yes, so we have those three. So are the materials for the last two, Open Streets and the Boardington Health Fair?
So yes, for the Mexican Independence, yes, for Open Streets, and yes, for the health fair.
Okay, is Anne Marie on by chance in case the committee has any questions? Of course, she's messaging. Her ears must have been burning. Does the committee have any questions?
A general question. Now that, I mean, we're meeting in person, when does regulations go where they have to get signatures and things of that nature from the businesses?
We didn't have a chance to discuss that at the meeting, so I'm not gonna implement that till I talk to the committee. So I'm gonna bring it up in September. If they want to put it back in October, we'll do that. But, I'll wait till September to have a better idea.
I think because of when this was dropped, we had a week's notice.
Yeah, so I don't want to make those calls. I could, I guess, but I don't want, I'd rather talk to the committee.
No, I think in this particular instance, having that conversation, showing a bit of grace.
So, good question.
So a message, but does the committee have any questions about what materials are in?
I'll make if there are no questions, I'll make a motion. If we can bundle them, I'll make a motion to approve all three.
I'm willing to entertain that unless there are questions about any of them at this point in time. No? All right, wait,
The weekly one, is that every day or?
it's every Friday.
Every Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, all right. Okay, all right, then.
Yeah, I'll make the motion to approve all three of these street activity permits. Do I have to get more specific than that?
No,
Okay.
just as I read them into the record, Jason.
I second the motion, Chair.
All right, call the roll, please.
Jose,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Jessica,
Yes.
John, Marissa,
Yes.
Melissa,
Yes.
Xavier,
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes.
Jason.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Okay, thank you. We had another request for a resolution of support for the 116th Street Block Association application for a grant from, if we go back, please. Yes, for a grant from NY State under the Main Street program. So what this does is a fund, so what this is a typically 116th block association has, it's part of one of our members, Candy Vasquez. It is just an issue, a letter of support that she can apply. Is she in the attendees by chance, believe?
Where exactly is this association? 116, like all of it, or? I'm on 116, I don't know.
I was attending your
Yes,
Vasquez?
it's not a
Candy.
It's a housing nonprofit.
Isn't it? It's in her office. Is she in the attendees?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
Huh?
Candy's on.
Candy's here.
Hi, I'm here.
Okay, all right. So my understanding, good, Candy, welcome. When did you, because these grant applications, they usually get dropped last minute and have a limited timeline to apply. When did this one pop up? Can you hear it? She muted?
You should not be. Candy, can you?
Candy, if you're talking, you're muted.
Hi, I'm sorry.
So did you hear my question, Candy?
No, I'm sorry, because I got rejoined into, I was on the Zoom, but it wasn't as a panelist. So I didn't hear that. I'm sorry. Good evening,
Okay,
everybody.
so I was just talking about how you're applying for this grant application, you're just asking for a letter of support in the process. And when did this application go live? When is it due?
The application is due July the 28th. And so it came out late May. So I wasn't able to be put on the calendar for the housing committee because they had to, we had to attend the webinar in 2 parts. So like that this year, I don't know, they did it different. So we had to do 2 separate webinars in order for us to know the full details, because they're also working with the Regional Economic Development Corporation as well. So this is being done through a CFA. And so it's funding that the whole, Kathy Hoke will put out more money for various programs such as community block grants. Main Street is one of the programs that I decided to take on as a task, only because 116th Street right now, it needs to be revitalized. And with the help of, the organization, but the community at large, we can, at least fix up, we're allowed to do at least 3 blocks straight and do mixed use housing, with a building owner that has a storefront as well. So we can work with the building owner, and we have 2 years to actually implement the whole project. And it's, if we could do the streetscape, we can also fix the storefronts where we can provide new gates, beautifying the block. I decided 116th Street because right now, the way it looks, it just needs we need to fix that up there. And, see how we can also, help some of the building owners if they want to have the mixed use to fix that. So I am working with some right now. Until I don't get their approval, I can't really identify them. There's only one owner that decided in 116th Street between Madison and 5th. So that's one set of a block. Then we could do Lexington and Park, and then 3rd and 2nd. My problem with 2nd Avenue is because of the 2nd Avenue subway, we don't know what's gonna happen there. But it's, so that's basically, I'm asking for $320,000. And that should help out with, construction costs, beautifying, and that I'm just putting that amount just in case we go over or the budget, it goes, it's just, the construction costs are higher, not just the construction, because we're allowed to utilize and fix someone's apartment. it all depends if I work with the owner, if they allow us to do that, as long as they could continue to keep it affordable. So that's just one piece of it. And so that's, in order for me to actually apply for any of it, I will have to first get approval from the community board support so they would know that the community knows that we're engaging in fixing and revitalizing a street corridor that has multi-usage,
Thank you, Candy. I'm gonna go to some questions from the committee real quick. Questions? Jess? And then Jose?
Hi, Candy. I just have a question. It's just to clarify, you're first working on 116th Street. Sorry, you're doing it in 3 parts. Is that correct? Over the course of 2 years?
No, we're allowed to utilize, fix up 3 blocks. So
Okay.
if we want to do streetscape from Madison and Fifth, or from Lexington to 3rd, or from Park Avenue, because Park Avenue, there's not enough lighting, we can do that. And on top of that is just fixing up the area and sprucing up also some of the businesses that they could, instead of having the closed in gates, then we can give them see-through gates. So people can see, revitalizing their business storefront, so people can see what that store has. It's just to also invite new businesses into the community.
Thank you. Jose? And Jason.
Hi, Candy.
Hi.
So is this 116th Street Block Association like something that's new for this, or is it something that's been? Because I just haven't heard of it as of late. There used to be something a long time ago.
Main
As you
Street?
know. No, the 116th Street Block Association.
That's that's the organization I work for.
I know, I mean, but it just.
Okay, let me
It's just
explain
a
this
name
to
on it.
you.
Because I've heard there were 2 associations, like there was a real association that I used to meet, and then I know her, so I was just curious.
No, we're the
Andy?
same ones.
Same one, okay. The same one that did Cologne Plaza. Right?
Yes.
Thank you. All
Right.
right, Jason, your question.
I have no questions, Chair. I'm gonna make a motion.
Are there any questions from the committee? Okay, Jason, you're recognized.
A motion to provide a letter of support to the 116 Block Association.
Okay, Nelson, please call the roll. Nelson. Then I will.
Jose?
Yes.
Yes. Jessica?
Yes.
John? Melissa?
Yes.
Elsa?
Yeah.
Xavier?
Aye.
Isaac? Yeah. Jason?
Yeah.
All right, nearly there.
It's not to go.
All right.
Who's that? Barrio Bar Service?
Yeah. Next slide, please, delete. Diana, thank you for being here. We went ahead and because you provided all our documents, there were no questions. Your event was approved. I'll recognize you if you want to say anything real quick before we move on. But otherwise, we're gonna move on the agenda so I can get everyone home, okay?
Sorry,
We approved you. Thank you.
a healthy you? Chambers?
That's the name of it, A Healthy You.
I think we approved that. Right?
Item 21, is it denial?
It said denied.
All right, yep, all right. Moving on.
We did
Yeah, we did.
Hello? Yes, I'm here.
Ma'am, you've not been,
Hold on 1 minute.
Oh, okay, thank you. Okay, hey, guys, real quick, I missed the note. Everyone, number 21, please turn. I missed that, what's this? We're going to reverse position because they have provided and satisfied all documentation for number 21. Appreciate your understanding. It's a help you, number 713852, block party, July 22nd. Set up 11 p.m., breakdown 8 p.m. Is that a typo?
Yes.
It should be 11 a.m. East 123rd Street, 2nd, 3rd Avenue, full street closures, Swan Street, Chambers Memorial Baptist Church. We have all the documentation now.
Yeah.
Motion to Nilsa, second. Isaac.
Yep.
Call the roll, please.
Jose?
Yes.
Adam?
Yes.
Jessica?
Yes.
John? Marissa?
Yes.
Melissa?
Yes.
Xavier.
Aye.
Isaac.
Yes.
Jason.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Good thing she was good at it.
Thank you, Ms. Srini, for being here.
Thank you so much. Thank you. God
Yeah.
bless you guys. Maybe I
God
have
bless
to
you
take-
too. Have a good summer. All right, guys, back to that
Thank you.
slide. Thank you. Nearly there. Okay. All right, before we get in, and I did give your email, Isaac, so we'll talk about that real quick. Yeah, and because I just want to address it, but let's get through this bit. We actually, it is now just 8:10. Well done, team. Really plowed the road. Return in person. This is a taste of things to come when it comes to our committee meetings. This is what we're going to be dealing with, this environment going forward. So get accustomed to it. So when you're meeting, you're gonna have the owl here, you're gonna have your staff member operating it. Again, the crosstalk, we have to imagine we're still in the virtual environment because obviously as you hear, that owl will start spinning around and around and it will get very confused. And for the viewers, comedic as it may be, it is not effective for conducting business. So cathartic moment for this meeting, we're gonna do great in September. What it's gonna entail is that, like everyone here who's here on time, thank you. That helps with the staff, so everyone gets the position, they can be ready to go. Remind people of the rules of the road. The challenge we're gonna face coming out is how we're going to organize our committee meetings, as we discussed with Angel and a few others in our executive committee meeting. We used to have a truncated format where you needed 6 and then 7, or 6:30 and then 7:30, and you'd be done in and out in an hour. A lot of the work was done up front. We have to get ourselves accustomed to that environment again. We also used to meet over at hold on just a second. Over at Bonifacio, thank you, where we had larger meetings or meetings that ran long. Typically, that was public safety, transportation, that was landmark, land use, thank you. So this is again something we're going to keep in mind as we move into the next term. So again, reach out to committee members, start doing the prep work in advance so that you can have more sustained conversations. Again, you can have these round robin working groups, but then when it has to come out to the light of day, that's, it has to be done publicly. So yes, John, and then down.
Question, we had 13 committees, right?
Approximately, yeah.
Okay, so also, you're going to have 14 for a couple.
The state of
The election.
the election, correct. Yeah, which will be assigned come September. So that's right. And so that those meetings will have to take place and be available and open to the public as well as to hybrid. Yes, sit down.
I don't know if this is appropriate time, but what's the protocol with always taking votes in alphabetical order?
It's just the way we have operated.
I only say it because and I'm not saying anyone does this or whatever, but when they're contentious votes, it's could be seen as somebody who always gets the vote last can kind of read the position that we're going in and go that way. And then the guy that's always got to go first has to set the tone. It's something I've always wondered is why we don't mix it up sometimes.
We can, one of the things it can be a little bit challenging for the staff, so being respectful to the staff, but we want to get their input. But one of the things I would like to try next term is for the chairs to vote last, right, of your committees. And here's why, is because in actuality, is the chair of the board actually serves as a tiebreaker for parliamentary procedure. Most of the times it's moved. But I think if you're talking about your point about swaying the issue or one of the people involved.
Or just always being on the right side of something, counting them and going, oops, okay, I'll go that way, as opposed to having to take a leap of faith sometimes. I'm just saying, if we just randomized it, that wouldn't happen.
We're asked, and by the time we get to ask, I don't know how most of the people voted, we got that. I agree with you, because I thought that too, because sometimes people will see, how they want to vote.
Yeah, not on most of them, but I'm talking
Sometimes, I was thinking that too.
So I'm gonna go to John and then get a little feedback from Angel. Get your hand raised.
But like you said, it's really part of parliamentary procedure. But with the city council and the Congress, they call acting out there for order, and they usually wait for the speaker in the Congress and the House to go last. And they call the city council, they call the speaker for it.
So and again, we're following a very customary procedure. It's not obligatory by any stretch, but there are ways we can support, but I would definitely recommend trying September, October for the chair to vote last and tiebreaker functionality to see how that goes. And encourage your members to vote their point of view. That's the important part, and to speak openly. Angel, do you have anything to do with that?
So there's nothing keeping you all from calling on members and whatever you want. And if you got, and there's nothing keeping you from putting into practice the chair votes last. The tiebreaker thing, I don't think applies to community boards, but to your question, you can do whatever order you want. If it's the full board, so this point about it being an onerous on the staff, yeah, that's a real pain in the neck. That's 50 people, so we're going up and down the list, but 6, 10 people is, it's a piece of paper, it's fine, whatever you want. And the staff has over time, like, just kind of slipped in to like help call names and stuff to make it easier for y'all. So, but if you guys want to call the names, that's perfectly within your rights as well. There's no rule that I have to call it or we have to call it. I might test. So yeah, go nuts. As long as like, you're getting everybody, then yeah. All right, sure, whatever you want.
So just to clarify, so you're saying to do that in committee, or you're saying to do that also?
No, I'm saying, please don't do that for board.
But that's what I'm.
Right,
That's why I wanted to say that the committee, we can switch it up and go however we want, but the full board is really more the guideline. Where I think that is what Adam is talking about, that in the full board, it tracks like if people being led, but it is onerous and it would be very.
Yeah.
All right, I don't want to get paid. I'm just gonna ask one last one. Would it be difficult? My random idea might have been too ambitious, and I'm not the one doing it, so I shouldn't be saying it, but if we went, would it be difficult to go every other time backwards and forward, or is that gonna make confusion? All right, I'll leave it alone.
Thank you.
Adam, I think you're absolutely good and right on point.
Thank you. All right, moving on to the next item, community outreach, tailored events, start with the chairs, other community connection opportunities. We are emerging from the pandemic to the degree you feel comfortable. We used to table at a lot of events. We are being invited back to table at events. For example, at Wagner, I went and walked through there after we had our little onboarding to new members, kind of gave them a 411 on our real world impact on community boards. We did over 101 in Lexington. We had a good portion show up. They enjoyed it. Really found it edifying. And then we walked up, hit Diana Ayala's event, a bunch of others. I'm encouraging all of our board members, especially our executive team, please make yourself available to chair and drag a friend. Grab a committee member who said, hey, why don't you come out, hand out information. We have a QR code or an email address, like we can start signing people up and get them plugged in. So I'd really encourage you to do that. The other thing too is that out being in, yes, Angel, being out at a lot of family days, being out at a lot of TA meetings in the neighborhood. It was recommendation from one of the TA presidents said, it'd be great to have a sit down, have a coffee with you and the other chairs and get to know who are representing us and how you got to where you are. So we can call you up at some point if there's an issue. I know Jose's all about that right there.
That sounds suspiciously like you.
I would drag you out. You're getting first if I have to. So this is something that was recommended. I talked to, for example, over at Johnson, they've asked for that over at TAP. Now that we have Beverly McFarland's TA president, this is a way for us to reconnect with not just our developments, but our block associations, getting to be able to bridge that divide, just like we did with Earl's Beer and Cheese and talking with Jules and the owners and say, hey, we'll come out and meet you. Let's sit down, let's solve this problem together. And then that sows a tighter on net. And then, any other ideas you have as well, whether we were world's your oyster, bring it to next executive committee, any other ideas you have. With that, there was one other issue. Thank you guys for emailing me, and I do, with your human services, we talked briefly about it, like when this started back with Diane, and again, I know how to follow up with Candy and a few others about like, hey, how do we do this? It's about the incentivization was to get the committees to do an outreach kind of program and stuff like that. And that's how it began. It carried on under Ilsa, and I wanted to see this, so it's a way to get the committees engaged with our CBOs. I guess the first question I have, with that is, do we know, and Angel, what is the process? Because when we go to supply funds or partner and co-sponsoring, how does that work today? What is the process for amendments?
Yeah, I just want to be able to accurately.
Yeah, sure. So, it starts from how we're able to pay, right? So you guys can approve all kinds of stuff, but then I don't have cash to just give, right? So what I need is that wherever the money's going, that it be a vendor, right? That there be a vendor at the end of it. Or, for example, if we're co-sponsoring an event, and as part of our co-sponsoring, we commit to buying waters. Now, I can use a vendor and buy the water before I buy the water. But if it's a contribution to like an organization, they have to be a vendor in order for me to be able to facilitate payment to them, right? So if it's organization A and they're not a registered vendor, I can't pay them, no matter how well intentioned. We want to be in that kind of award, or at least I can't pay them until they get registered as a vendor, right? So you can hold it up. So what we should be doing is vetting this stuff ahead of time before we make the promise. So of course, even before that, first determining whether we have the money, and then once we do, then you all are engaging, then just to check in to say, okay, is organization XYZ a registered vendor? If not, then we need a bit of lead time to get them registered, so that then if y'all are approving it, then the payment can be facilitated for them. Otherwise, I'm not able to.
I'm gonna make a note too, because on the form, if anyone is applying for funding, there's a question on there that asks them if they are already registered, and that gives that lead time that Angel was talking about in terms of funding.
Okay, so how does one become a registered?
So there is the pay information portal that we would refer members or any potential vendor to go to the website, create an account, and follow through the process of becoming a vendor. But they can contact for more direct assistance.
They can contact
Only.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, if any of the chairs, you guys got questions, you all have my number, you always can reach out as treasurer. I have no issue providing direction, content, links. I do always push us to sponsor our own events. As you've seen with committees like, human servicing and environmental and open space. And the reason being, I want you to think of it, we're an advisory organization, and sometimes the funding, though it's allocated from the city, we don't spend it, it goes back, we build a bad habit, the city provides less funds, right? Then second to that, just another loud thought, like with funding from a local constituent, or an elected official. They give us funding, it's usually driven for a specific task, right? We don't spend it, it goes back. And that tends to build a different type of bad habit. And why am I bringing that up? Because I see the push to give money away. And as Xavier was saying, I don't see the push for us to perform, some of these services ourselves. And that's something that, I was fortunate enough to pick up from my previous treasurer, some of these ideas and concepts, and we got hit with the pandemic. So God bless, we're back in person. We can continue the conversations, but I really would like us to think of how we can engage the community through our events and with our committees. Because just in the back of your head, just think about it. I'm an elected official. I give CB11 $3,000, and then CB11 takes the $3,000 and gives it to CBOs in CB11's name. I need not tell you, maybe next year, because I'm up for election, I'm not going to give it to CB11, right? So I just want that type of rhetoric in the head, because I wasn't able to speak last month at full board due to technical difficulty. And it was really, really discerning, as Angel expressed, not for the juniors, love the juniors, not for even some of the veterans, but the senior members, that this practice has been in play again, even before I was a board member. It was just a little flabbergasting to hear that they were familiar. Again, knowing how public I am with my cell number, if you watch a YouTube video, you probably catch it. So, I just want to make that note, and chair, please, let's push the chairs to spend the resources, so that way this type of stress doesn't push on, the staff.
Yeah, to that, I'm gonna go to Angel at his hand raised. Angel.
Um. So, when I go part of what Jason's saying in terms of far as encouragement to the board and its committees to, organize events like outreach events, because they are very well received within my community. Given the conversation last month and the conversation this month, and subsequent conversation with the other members, we're gonna try to do, everything we try to do is try to make it easier. So this is gonna be another thing to try to make it easier. This will, convene in July, once the new fiscal year is engaged, as has begun. And we'll look at some numbers and I'll talk to the treasurer and like I just like what expressing to Xavier. Depending on the availability of funding, I'll know after the new fiscal year comes in. Well, I know what the allocation is gonna be baseline, right? Like our basic funds, that doesn't go in. It's the discretionary funds that we ask council members for, that's where we kind of get to do this kind of stuff with. So depending on what those awards are, I won't know that in the fiscal year. Then once I have that, then we figure out something, talk with him, and then we really want to hit that number, that set aside number to support the committees. So once we know that for sure, then we'll let you all know, like, we got it, start planning stuff. And then, if it's something you have to do right away, then we can do right away. If something's gonna take a month or two, then we can do that as well. Because we really do want to be encouraging, and the more that the members themselves are participating in tabling events or other kinds of events, people like that. And there's something I want to say after we go through this stuff. You gotta take your time, so I'll talk later. But just to the importance of that engagement. I'll stop there.
Yeah, so, I'd encourage like finding an event, like, if you wanted to partner with, or even you got to like a September or whatever, I think it's a great opportunity where you have a table and you're engaging, drag out the committee members, like some will live up in that type of woods. I think that'd be great to have, hey, this is what we're doing, drag out Anne Marie, drag out, Art, who's the head of it. It's a natural synergistic opportunity. In case in point of, the environment, open space and parks and youth and education. Prior to that, we used to have the Spirit of Service Award that was awarded, and that was an appropriation by Kalos. We would go out and give a Spirit of Service Award, and that's how we hosted that event. And since Willie Manning came in, we've kind of transitioned, still getting the appropriations and focusing on other programs. Again, it grew twice as large than the year prior, with COVID and our instrument. So that's. And that gets them plugged into our process and how they could make a difference.
So I guess my last question is, will we be able to allow that money from last year be able to go to board event or no?
Yeah, I think you guys need to talk about that next month. There's a couple of things that you all need to discuss as a committee. You might even want to go into an executive session. Because there are some sensitivities, right? I know I'm the one that ends up talking about the barns. And I don't want to be the grouch and the party pooper. But what I'm trying to do is to keep us above board all the time. So there's a couple of things you guys need to talk about first and kind of come to an agreement, and there'll be another 5 after July 1st anyway, more than likely, fingers crossed. And that'll still be enough time for September. So I would say now, if it's okay, that probably not this 5 from this fiscal, but hopefully the 5 from the next fiscal. And I promise I'm gonna try really hard to be able to make that happen. But I don't want to promise before I have it in hand. You know what I mean?
I don't want to stop. Yeah, and I don't want to go ahead and say we want to put the 5 for next year to that, like the purpose of the book, what we were going to into that, and there's the new work with the committee to figure out what we're going to do. So hearing you all say organize something, that's what I want to push for with the next 5. So that's it. No, you guys answered my question. Thank you. I should have gotten more feel in the process a lot sooner. And I was
No, we're gonna get everyone together. I
leaving
just wanna-
Just for that, Angel, just for that.
Have to stay in character.
We've lost the eye. We're losing y'all.
Going back to A, I mean, I still think that we should send a letter to city, to the council, whoever it needs to be sent to state. I do think that now that we're going in person, the city charters should be changed. I think that committees should be met in virtual. I think it's much easier for anyone elderly, much easier for attendance, much easier for, in general, more people can participate. That's absolutely the truth. It's not just for convenience of the members. And I think we don't have to do it tonight because we're gonna meet in July anyway. But I think that we've formally sent the letter out saying that you know, committees should be able to meet virtual, full board. I think, you know, if you can't meet once a month in person, then maybe this isn't for you, but something along that line and something more formal, because we're gonna have serious issues once we start having our committees in person. Quorum is gonna be a monstrous issue. People are used to certain things, and it's just what it is.
I'd like to, and I think that's, since it's looking like an line executive, I would want to make the recommendation, go into executive and create a working doc. Put your bullet point ideas, right? Let's start there, very basic. But one thing I will say is that we have to comply with two elements. We have the city charter, right? That requires us to have our traditional meeting, and then we have open meetings law. That's what was changed. And that's the area that we have to address both, and it would have to go with both the city and the state. Now, I am more in line, and again, just leave you this final thought with the Bloomberg model, what he advocated the city charter, which was to allow for virtual meetings, hybrid teleconference. I said that way because otherwise it can get, it would increase what in his mind was the brain trust, more thought, people who are traveling, they're working, and they want to participate. So as we spoke on the phone, Jose, like I could foresee my personal point of view would be seeing where the option for all the committee meetings have the option of being hybrid and then person, that type of option, and then definitely a person, a full board, I think we framed it. But again, let's put a little doc in there and put our ideas and issue a letter that will reaffirm our previous position, which was calling for an extension on the EO. But thank you everyone for a very successful meeting, and one more.
And Angel.
I'm sorry, we made the time, so a few more minutes is fine, especially after all the 4-hour meetings that you couldn't do over the
Virtual meeting.
So, and thank you for allowing me to speak on this. There's something that has been troubling me this, particularly this month, but over the past few months, also. And it's, you know, to the point about community engagement and meeting with the community and, you know, pressing flesh and letting people know who you all are. No one asked me to promote the community board. I just do it because I think I should. And I also defend the community board, even though nobody asked me, but I think I should. I respect the fact that people like you volunteer to serve on a community board. With very, very, very few exceptions, for the most part, with the hope of serving your community. A lot of work goes into that. I've seen that over now 13 years that I've worked here. Lots of different people like you all, caring about your community in many different ways. And expressing, you know, not just seeing the needs in the community, but also expressing your wishes for a better future for your community. Some of those wishes, you know, become requests in our statement of needs. Some of those wishes have evolved into commitments, you know, from the community, from the city, as part of the, you know, a rezoning or a project. And then that further results in real tangible things that improve the lives of your neighbors. It's a fact. I'm going to give you a very simple example. The 2017 rezoning was approved in 2017, obviously. As part of that, and during that year, a number of ULIP applications were approved. 2017, today 2013. As a direct result, just one example, Sendero Verde project on 112th Street, 700 units. La Isabela, a couple of blocks south of there, 400 units. Right? The two projects that were heard at your committees this month. Together with those who were all approved the same year, would be 16, 17 apartments that would not have existed but for the work of this community board. That's the way I look at it. Because I sat at this table with many of you and your predecessors, talking about the dire need for housing, among other things, in your community. So, to hear this month, time and again, voices raised and amplified, which is the most discouraging thing, criticizing the work of the community board, making assumptions about the community board, making allegations against the community board, membership and staff alike, questioning the values of this institution. And all of those assertions not being questioned and not being stamped out are incredibly frustrating. Because, and I'm speaking specifically to the critics of the proposed Timbale Terrace project. Okay, we all know what the challenges in the community are. We all know about the saturation. We don't disregard it. We're not okay with it. We know just like everybody else. But for someone to say, for many to say, and to be applauded for saying, the community board doesn't care about the community. Who is the community board? Who are these people? Where do they live? If only they lived here. Right? Time and again and again and again. I said at this table, turn the damn chat off. And I was overruled, and it has been an absolute unmitigated disaster ever since, in my opinion. And it has given license to irresponsible people to time and again say all kinds of irresponsible stuff. I'm so happy that we're in person, because I'm an old sick man now, but you're not saying that wild stuff if I'm sitting right next to you. You're just not. You're just not. Listen, there's a lot of hurt people out there. Both the people that need all those services and all the people that are living amongst them. I understand. I think we all understand. But we have to be at the table having the conversation, even when they're hard, even when they're frustrating. But what some of these folks are saying is, oh, no, you cannot have the conversation. You have to say no even before you start the conversation because I'm frustrated. I'm uncomfortable. I'm scared. Fuck, I'm scared too. I'm scared too. But here I am every day. And so are all of you. I'm sorry. I heard Pastor Isaac say some serious stuff a couple of months ago. And it humbled me. But all I have are strong opinions. That man has quite the story. I appreciated that. And what people should hear from that is like, you know what? I was here. Then I was here. Now I'm here. Right? That's hope. That's why you're doing this. You're not doing it for fun. You're not getting paid. You're not getting paid. It's not fun to hear a cranky old angel yell at you every 3-4 months. It's not fun. You get tired of it. Like, look, here he goes again. Right? Well, you know, I'm not trying to be cranky and mean. I'm just trying to help y'all. But then to hear these folks saying all kinds of wild stuff, I'm like, I understand. No one is disregarding your concerns, sir, madam. No one. No one is. No one is. Before you realize that there was a community board, all of a sudden you realized that there's a community board. These folks have been here dealing with the same thing. Dealing with the same thing. Seriously thinking about all these things. How do we do better? How do we do this? How do we do that? Over and over again, time and again. But this month, we had the opportunity at 4 different meetings to have a conversation about this proposal. And at all 4 meetings, they were hijacked, and I appreciate your work, sir, to keep it under some kind of control. Hijacked by folks that whose only purpose was to hijack the meeting. That was it. That was it. Even before you got started, you said, here are the rules of the road. We're gonna hear this presentation and then we're gonna hear from you. We're not being heard from. I'm like, we're gonna get to you. And they were gotten to 4 times. I defy you to tell me the details of that project. No, because Community Board 11 has signed off on setting the community on fire. Community Board 11 approved the opioid prevention center. I'm like, you're not doing your homework. Right? This guy's been driving me crazy for 1.5 years talking about this OPC thing. We're a no. We've been a no. Angel, where are we at this? Did we hear back? Did we hear back? That's a yes? That's a no. It's been a no the whole time. But these fools are, oh no, it's Community Board 11. I'm like, that's not true. But you're gonna say that irresponsible nonsense enough times that other people that just may not know are gonna believe it. And they are believing it. They are believing it. And that's a hell of a distraction because it doesn't afford them then the opportunity to say, when they run into any of you guys, what is this thing really about? I'm gonna stop. In 2017, after years of work on the neighborhood plan and the rezoning, a lot of really good stuff is in there that came from this table, no matter what all these people say. And no matter how many members of the board right now couldn't be bothered to read the thing. Okay, we sat here day 1 of the neighborhood plan and folks are around this table saying, okay, what do we do? People are like, stop. What did the community board say? We handed over the community board statement of needs and they just copied and pasted. So it's your positions that made up the neighborhood plan that then we're allowing these folks to say, oh no, where did you get that from? Well, I got it from I got it from the community board. They got it from you, heard you.
21 other.
If those projects are built, and to be clear, I don't know Lantern, I can give a damn about Lantern. I care about CB11 because I'm my employer. Everybody else is on their own. Okay? But if those projects are built, 500 homes on a parking lot and out of thin air behind a former school. Out of thin air. Who recommended that? The community board. Who recommended this little better to be redeveloped? The community board. Who made tall prop? Not like we're gonna pull it back now. At this table, tall prop wanted to develop on 110th Street. At this table, your predecessor said, no, unless you extend the affordability contracts on your existing Section 8 properties. Sounded crazy. What happened? Exactly that. That's 1,100 apartments were extended in affordability for 35 years minimum. And then you add on Isabel another 400. As a result of the conversations at this table. I don't know why I keep staring at you, I'm sorry. At this table.
I'm getting all this info.
You know, at this table. Right? So I'll say it and I'll keep saying it. If the community board is worthy of criticism, I will say it. He's heard me 1,000 times. But if the community board's work is righteous, then I'm gonna defend it. And I'm not gonna let any old body say any kinds of nonsense. I know a lot of former board members that are now walking past something that didn't exist in their time as members, and they're now saying, oh, wow, look at that. Right? Time and again, oh, wow, look at that. And it doesn't, some fool was saying and commenting the other day, 7 years ago for the neighborhood plan, as if things happen with the snap of a finger. I'm like, have you heard of government? That's not the way that works. That's not the way that works. 7 years is very fast. I wish it was fast, but it's what it is. It's what it is. And we continue to hit on it and hit on it and hit on it. So to see 4 meetings, I'm end with this. Those 2 projects are subject to Euler. The ULURP will not be certified till September. We asked the development teams and the city to come and present to us, not just once, but 4 times, to talk about the land use application, the housing, the supportive housing, and the jobs and cultural piece of this project. You want to say no in October, go ahead. But for goodness sakes, right now, let me hear what it is that you're proposing. Right? Because you can tell me everything is perfect. And once I hear it, then I'm going to ask you probing questions. Just how many jobs that the developer, the contractor on this project presented, how many times they have exceeded local hiring goals, only to see that dismissed by these people. Dismissed out of hand. This man works in this all the time. How many times do they go over? Never. That's where the whole damn organization exists. It keeps organizing. Right? So it's those kinds of things. I'm like, so what are we doing here? You know, like, yes, we want to hear your complaints. If indeed there are serious issues that you're seeing, that you believe, assuming related to this project or its proponents, let us hear it. But let us hear the other part first. And then we promise we're going to recognize your hand and listen attentively. We do it all the time. All the time. No, but we have to hear this foolishness. I'm sorry, this is the PSS. As challenging as many of our brothers and sisters in dire need in this neighborhood are, it's a fact. It's a fact. It's hard. Someone's doing some wildness, some other wildness, like, you know, right? It's hard. It's really hard. But those are people. Those are people. You have met people at this table that you get up and you give an award to, that you pat on the back, you tell them how wonderful they are. Oh, I'm so proud of you. After they recovered.
Come on.
After they recovered. Coño, when they're on the floor. When they're on the floor. Right, you're gonna be, oh, these aren't people. But no, they are people. They might be a pain in the ass right now. They might be scary right now, but still people. Somebody that used to work for me in my old job is on 125 right now. I see him all the time. He had recovered when I met him years ago. Where I used to work, it was a messenger center. Everybody's a very low skill job. It was dudes fresh out of prison, their first job messenger. This dude straight out of rehab, first job messenger. I worked for 20 years with all kinds of dudes, right? So he had recovered. I've known him for a number of years. It kept, right? Now I go to 125. There he is. There he is. Breaks my heart. And I know, and I don't need you guys to list them out. I know you all know people that you see all the time. Diana says it all the time. Her brother's there. So that's who we're dismissing. These are people. So it's hard, but I'll be damned if I'm not going to say anything after a month's worth. And you know what? The agencies just don't come because they want it. They come because you ask them, and then you convince them, and other times you make them. They just don't come. So that they came 4 times is something we should be happy about. Take every advantage of those opportunities and then continue from there versus, oh, we're going to throw our hands up.
No, thank you, Andrew. I think Andrew, it's important that folks hear that from you. It's one thing when you hear from the committee members, but thank you for saying.
Vote us out of office.
Guys,
Listen, I understand this. For the first time ever, we had a housing meeting that lasted almost 4 hours. And I said, when I looked at the time, I was like, oh, God. And what all they were doing was complaining.
Right after the same thing.
you remember, you and I were taxing it back and forth.
Yeah.
It's a point, little chair, because it's one organization.
hitting multiple committees. And I think that we need to make a position or say something to them that, you know, I don't know the formalities. But I personally, which like you asked us about doing a form, no problem for the district, no problem. But for a one-track activist group that's got it in, I don't know what's their funding, I don't, you know, I'm happy for them. Like I said earlier, 21 organizations were part of the East Harlem Neighborhood Plan. 21. They weren't one of them. They weren't one of them. And this body, with the time that I'm hearing, I thought my meeting was held hostage and we gave them 15 minutes for presentation. They held it for 3.5 hours. Your meeting, my meeting, your meeting, economic development. One organization? Unacceptable. Unacceptable.
So nearly there, go on.
It's not a problem about having the discussion. It's not a problem about asking questions in the chat. Remember when this first started, I didn't want the chat and I was told that it's good to have an engagement. I don't find the chat particularly conducive to discussion. I never have. I think I made my position perfectly clear. And we've talked about this, that I thought we should have checked out the chat. The problem comes in where we answer, we say we don't recognize the chat. We say, but then we say, put your information in the chat. And then we have to look at the chat. And so then people write the chat, like for instance, I started the meeting for Jason. This is, I think, when a lot of people came in. And at one point I almost like yelling at the people on the meeting because I was like, you know, we gotta have order. I don't think that the chat should be done used at all. That's always been my position. I think that if there are questions, people can submit their questions to the board and then the board can collate them, you know, put them together and forward them. But I think that we ourselves sometimes, especially with this format, and it was new to us, right? We had to take meetings, we didn't know. But I think now going forward, especially as you mentioned, organizations holding us hostage, is that what we're gonna continue to do?
Yeah, I am inclined like to try in September to shut down the chat.
I was gonna just ask that, can we just make a motion?
We don't need to, I'll just say, let's cut down the chat. We will do the Q&A. So we can then recognize people, so we at least have that. I think that we're gonna give it a go and see how it starts in September. All right. So, again, but we want to make sure, and we'll need the staff's assistance to make sure we're recognizing people in the hybrid environment. So that's something that's gonna be a challenge to do. So make sure we're all, just imagine if they're in the room with us raising their hand, so that we have to be a little patient with the lag time. Thank you very much for sharing, Angel, and I appreciate you. Yeah, we understand the frustration, and that's why on the committee meetings that I was able to attend, reminding people of the civility of your discourse is important. So
you can get it all the way to that's the day.
What?
I just got to alert.
I don't even pay attention to that.
No,
The social media on that.
That's one.
Yeah,
Right, and all I know is I got one question.
Yeah.
Which is, can we do something else with the supportive housing element of the 99 apartments? And that question is already being proposed and requested of information from HPD.
Yeah.
I need other questions, like legitimate question. I don't need the same question. We already know about the 99 apartments and then being supported. And there's a whole bunch of conspiracy theories that HPD hasn't even committed or convicted to that people are making. And we're gonna manage that in land use. I need other legitimate questions that are relevant to the project, the cultural piece, the art piece, the contract, the workforce development. Who's gonna, now Marissa's, who's gonna assume? Right now, it's Giselle, so I'll coordinate with Giselle about workforce and economic development. And you with human services, because I got that issue. And we're already requesting other opportunities to set aside conversations with HPD. I just want to get that update. We're working.
Yeah.
So I don't need to hear it for 10 more or 20 more. None of you need to listen for 30 more hours about that one question from that one organization. And I already told that organization, we don't need to do a form. I'll go there. and speak to that.
So so a couple things real quick. Before we meet in July, I'd like you all to look at the East Harlem neighborhood plan as we pass. Okay. Pull it up. We're gonna discuss that as well as the remaining liquor license and any other permits that were stragglers. Sound like a good plan, everyone?
Yeah.
Good. All right, I want to again be respectful and try to get us out the door. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. We are officially
Welcome
adjourned.
back to you.
And walk.
Yeah, that's why I asked that question. I read it and I knew I was thinking, and we talked about it.
Drive here.
My dad.
What? Where you gonna?